Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg here on this Wednesday evening. Hope you had a wonderful day. Happy first of the month and a busy show for this midweek. Jeremy Crosby here. Andrew Bamlett pushing the buttons or doing something back there. He told me we have a busy show today, so no screwing around. Let's get right to the point. And we've got DATCP. We're going to check in and talk about cybersecurity. That Cybersecurity Month was last month. But good time still to talk about it as you're out there, especially doing your shopping online and more. We'll break all that down coming up. Plus, we're taking a tour of the new squad. Yeah, fire department getting a new fire truck, squad truck. If you haven't seen it coming down the road, we'll take you right up close to it. Coming up a little bit later in the show. A couple of headlines for you today. Let's get into it. It is the first day of December, so are you winter road ready? Make sure you put together that winter emergency kit for your vehicle. Make sure your tires have good traction tread and are properly inflated. Ensure your batteries, antifreeze, cooling system are in good condition. Replace worn windshield wipers. Fill up your washer fluid with the there's a summertime washer fluid and a wintertime one. Yeah, you got to make sure you have that. And make sure you check the DOT's website for more information and get that 511 app for sure. All right, Fitrona EMS announces the newly launched One Caregiver Resource Center website. Yeah, if you want to check this out, a whole slew of great resources for you, including healthy aging, dementia, and more stuff. Great topics there. All right, I told you short headlines. We got a lot to get to. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we'll open up our digest with cybersecurity tips. Next, right here on Talking Fitchburg.
It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. Use a delivery service for essential items like food and medicine. If you must make essential trips, stay 6 feet apart from other people. Wear a cloth face covering and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Today we are talking about the newest addition to our fleet here at the fire department, and that is our Squad 2. Squad 2 has been part of the fleet for many years. We actually, part of the truck as you see it sit here, actually is 20 years old. The body in the back, where all the equipment is at, is actually refurbished. So as we're looking to, as we do with every other piece of apparatus, it has a lifespan. It goes beyond its service use. So then we look to either buy new or we look to refurbish it. So this truck is unique in that it has new components and it also has refurbished components. So the chassis is brand new by Pierce Manufacturing out of Appleton, Wisconsin. They also did the work to refurbishing an existing body that was built by Salisbury Fire Apparatus that's out in New York State. And that, like I said, that component is over 20 years old. So they took the body off the old chassis, went through the whole thing, new wiring, a little bit of body work. The body was in very good condition. That's why we were able to reuse it. And new paint and everything, and then married onto a new Pierce chassis. We just don't respond to fires anymore. We're pretty much an all hazards response now, meaning that in the past, fire department did exactly that, responded to a lot of fires. Well, with prevention, with fire resistant materials, with a lot of buildings now having sprinkler systems and fire detection systems in it, the number of severe fires has significantly decreased. But we are responding on a lot of other types of incidents. Mass casualty incidents, sometimes we have technical rescue type of incidents, and definitely responding on a lot of emergency medical type of responses. So that's why I say we're not just a fire response, we're an all hazards response. So that's what this truck actually helps us out significantly when we respond to these different types of incidents. So a squad, if to kind of put it into a layman's terms, is essentially the Swiss Army knife of the fire department as far as apparatus. The only thing this thing can't do is pump water. It doesn't have a pump on it like our pumpers. Here's your driver. Driver's primary responsibility is to essentially get you there safely. That's their main responsibility. Our driver is trained. They went through a lot of training to get our, not only our personnel, but this piece of equipment to the scene safely. So, driver's position, we also have a pack here for the driver that if needed, the driver is also a firefighter, can also pack up and approach the scene with the crew. As we talked about before, this cab's just a little bit different from the old cab in that there used to be another access door here for the firefighter to get on this side of the cab. We have taken that out. We've made more storage space for equipment that we need on scene. And then when we go inside the cab and look there, we have a usable workspace here that we can use on scene for incident command if needed. So this compartment, as you can see, we have a number of saws. We have 2 chain saws and then a circular saw, or chop saw, what we call it also. These saws are mainly used for venting at a fire. We can also use the circular saw for extrication purposes on car scenes, or also breaching walls at buildings if we need to. This compartment doesn't have much in it, but it does hold our water rescue equipment. Now, we're not dive certified or anything, but we do practice and have the equipment for surface water rescue and ice water rescue. So, for example, in this compartment, we'd have what we call our Gumby suits, our surface water rescue suits. We've done some training with them. They're currently drying, but we keep our personal flotation devices in here, or our life vests, and then the other equipment for water rescue goes in the lower compartment here. These 2 compartments essentially, and we tried to utilize every little bit of space on this truck. So in these areas above the wheel wells, they constructed compartments that carry extra SCBA bottles. So these are the bottles that we wear on our back in our SCBA, or self-contained breathing apparatus. They use a bottle. They can come disconnect that spent bottle and put a full bottle in and go back to work. The hooks that you see here actually go into a receiver just like you see on the back of a pickup truck. We pin them in, and we can use this as an anchor point for doing any type of low angle rescue. So for example, car goes off a roadway, is down an embankment. Our firefighters will go down, start treatment, assist EMS with treatment. We'll be checking for hazards. We might be down there doing extrication. Another crew will come up and we'll set up what we call a low angle rescue rope line so that we're reducing the risk of slips and falls of the firefighters going down the embankment with equipment. And then it also helps us when we go to bring that patient up safely from that low angle. So that's what these receivers are for, our anchor points that we can use, and they're all around the apparatus. In this compartment, you see a lot of round bags. These bags are filled with rope. So everything from tech rescue rope to search rope. Tech rescue rope, we have to keep maintenance on it, and we have to also keep what we call a rope log. So we use it, we keep a rope log as to why we used it. So for training, for example, we did training last night. That goes down in our rope use log book, that it was used for training and what type of training. And then after so many uses, that rope gets rotated out, we bring in new rope. So this is our main rope storage. Up above, I talked about our low pressure and high pressure airbags. Our high pressure, like I said, our low pressure airbags are much larger, so takes up a lot of space. Here is the storage for the low pressure airbags. Our next compartment here, once again, this looks familiar, another set of low pressure airbags. But this compartment has a lot of our stabilizing and hand tools that not only are on this truck, but you'd also see like on a pumper or on our ladder truck. So for example, each of these boards can come out so that we can easily get the equipment off the board. These are Rescue 42 struts. When we arrive on scene of a car accident, this is one way that we stabilize that auto. Not only with the cribbing that I talked about, but we can stabilize it even further and make it even safer for everybody operating around that vehicle with the Rescue 42 struts. If you've ever been to the firehouse for Fire Safety Week, you typically see hand tools like this. Everything from different sizes of hammers, mauls, and what we call closet hooks, or also smaller pike poles, are stored in this compartment as well. So I talked about low pressure airbags. This is an example of a high pressure airbag, much smaller in size, but this is what we use when we get on the scene of a car accident. A lot of times we don't have much room, that's why they're very thin. And when it comes to extrication, we move that vehicle just as much as we need to extricate the patient. So we're back up to the cab on the officer's side or passenger side of the vehicle. As you can see here, there's two doors on the cab. This is the officer's compartment, and then the firefighters that ride in the back with their seats and also their air packs if they need them responding to the scene. So as explained before, the old cab had 4 doors. This one has the 3 doors. In that area where that other door used to be is actually a work area that we can use as part of the incident command team, or if it's large enough, we go to a unified command. You can get a number of individuals in here to be part of that unified command. It also is a large enough area that we need to get our water rescue equipment on. They can do that in here. If it's raining outside or during the winter, it's a controlled environment so that they can safely get their equipment on in a dry and warm area. We have additional batteries for our extrication equipment that are constantly charging and ready to go. We carry thermal imaging cameras. We also carry emergency medical equipment and then rescue task force equipment. So more ballistic type of equipment, helmets and vests. Officer's responsibility is for talking with the 911 center, letting them know that they're responding on scene. If they're the first arriving company, that officer has to start formulating an incident action plan and assume command of the incident. They then are starting to form how other apparatus are responding in the scene and where they need to stage once they arrive. So everything in this area is radios and then a computer. That computer essentially just gives us more information on the way to the scene about the call.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. He finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving.
She must be a keeper.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from the Department of Trade Consumer Protection. You'll recognize Michelle. She's back and she's ready to celebrate Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Michelle, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Thank you for coming back. And we have celebrated this each and every year for the last, I don't know how many years. I think we're up to 5 years on the show. So probably 3 years. I'm just going to guess. But Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so important for so many different reasons. And each year you highlight different topics and probably things that you're hearing from the consumers here in the state of Wisconsin that's affecting them. But overall, why is it so important to refresh ourselves on this and really take this serious?
Oh, it's so important because we really want individuals and organizations to own their role in protecting their part of cyberspace, really stressing that personal accountability and the importance of taking those proactive steps to enhance cybersecurity. Because if we don't do that, no one else is going to for us. And you really run risk of identity theft or having your financial information taken and then your accounts depleted. So we all need to just step up, be cyber smart and do our part.
And is it safe to say from your standpoint, I mean, people are getting scammed out of or have not taken the basic steps, or you guys wouldn't have a job, right? Is that fair fair assessment?
Well, we'd be focusing on other issues, certainly, if people didn't participate in this and don't participate. It certainly keeps us busy and trying to get the message out there. So we aren't focusing necessarily all of our time on the other consumer protection issues, because we need to get this message out to make sure that people are establishing, securing, and protecting those online accounts and information that's important for everyone to do their daily business and make sure that they have a strong financial future and secure identity as they go down the road.
I'm just being a cyber smart aleck for today. And that's where we start our first one is be cyber smart. Tell us some areas that we can use improvement on to be on top of this.
Yeah, we've broken this month into little chunks and themes to make sure people can just take this step by step, if you will. And you're right, that first sub theme is be cyber smart. And what that means is take the time to make those first steps if you haven't already done so. Keep security software current on your devices. Make sure that you have the latest security software, web browser, and operating system, because it's the best defense against viruses, malware, and other online threats. However, before you can do that, you really need to know and understand which devices in your household are connected to the internet. I mean, we have the obvious ones, the computer, the tablet, your phone, but smartwatches, people's refrigerators, washers and dryers, even their ovens can be connected, thermostats, gaming devices. So there's a whole other plethora of devices in the household that can be connected to the internet. And you need to realize that, take inventory of that and make sure that they are securely connected and not just default connected through the manufacturer's method, because that could create a vulnerability in your household system. So that's also part of what needs to happen as a first step.
I would love the day that DATCP shows up in a van because your washer broke down because it got a scam on it or something, and you're there to repair it. There's a day. Fight the fish. And we're not talking about the fishies in the lakes here, folks. We are talking about fishing anything. I mean, phishing scams, phishing phone. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems like every time we speak every month, we are talking about some latest phishing scam and how some imposter is trying to get at our information. But we would have a real problem if during Cybersecurity Month, we overlooked the importance of the phishing scams and making sure that people pay attention to website URLs and make sure that they are at the actual website they want to be at. and are trying to get to rather than clicking a link in an email. And examples of this are when you maybe get an email that looks like it's from your bank or maybe some major online retailer saying that your account has had a security issue and you need to update your password. Well, clicking that link isn't going to take you to that legitimate company or bank. That's the phishing attack, the scammer trying to get you to their imposter website at that fake URL. And then they are trying to gather your information so they can breach your account and get in there. And we want to make sure that you pay attention to that information. Don't click those links. And then if you think it's legitimate, try to verify with the company if something's really happened by going to the company's website using your normal method, making a phone call using a phone number off of a statement or some other way that you would normally contact them, or go ahead and log in as you normally would, ignoring that link and changing that password or updating something so you don't fall victim to that phishing attack.
And this next one, I remember talking a little bit about this last year, but stop, think, connect, and really stopping and thinking about what you're doing before you do it, because we are in this it's there, I could buy it, it looks legit, doop, 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 and you single-handedly could mess up a good chunk of your life in making it easy for these thieves to steal from you, or worse, identity theft.
Yeah, I mean, how many of us check emails off of our smart devices numerous times a day and do so while we're just distracted with other things because we're doing it on the quick, if you will. Yeah. And you can easily fall victim to things because we're not stopping and thinking about what we're seeing, and we're just reacting to the information in front of us. So when we stop and think, we can see that, boy, that looks suspicious, and you have doubts. So you're just going to throw it out. You're going to junk it. You're going to remember all these tips we've talked about today. If you think before you act, then you can communicate with those you think the message from to verify that it's legitimate rather than just responding to it. You will recognize that something sounds too good to be true, or is asking for your personal information. We won't just be reacting. The other important part about stopping and thinking is that we will take the time to make strong and real confident passwords, really using passphrases, if you will, those longer character combinations that are more difficult for a thief to put together. We will have unique passwords for unique accounts that hold our personal and financial information. And we'll take the time to actually put that two-factor authentication in, really the deadbolt on the house, if you will, that double lock situation on those financial accounts. And that two-factor authentication really is just using either biometrics or some other security key, like a unique one-time code that you would get on a mobile device to be able to log in with your username and password, that just really puts that extra layer of protection or fencing around that information that we hold in the cyber world.
Yeah, so important. And I think that's the area to really take hold of this year is really just stop and think about before you act on it, because it can happen to anybody. I've almost fell victim to something. It's easy, and I've listened to you say this stuff over and over and over, and we're too busy. We're just too busy doing things. It's not good.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add to that, Jeremy. In the upcoming holiday season, we've heard a lot about the potential for supply chain shortages and shopping early. Well, that's going to allow for an opportunity for scammers to really trick people into those hot items. And if we don't take time to stop and think and look at that as a boy, that seems really too good to be true, there's going to be a lot more unhappiness and insecurity in the cyber world. So you're right. This one is critical right now to stop and think.
Yeah, and I'm suspecting too that we're going to have a lot of people that ordered something aren't going to get it, and they're never going to know if it was legit or not legit, until it shows up. even though it might have been legit. It's going to be a mess this year. There's no question about that. Finally, cybersecurity first, and plays into what we're talking about too, as you're working through your devices and everything. You got to be ready, and we really got a jump start in the last year on being at home and connecting online more. So cybersecurity's got to be top priority.
It does. And this is for devices at home or at work, and your work might be at home type situation. You may have
Right.
converted that permanently or temporarily still. And you have a lot of good procedures and practices for your work, I'm sure. You need to remember to follow those and report them, but see what you can adopt in your home life as well with your family. And if you have a network set up, and some things to remember are to make sure you're backing up your data and have a routine and a practice for that, and decide what's best for you and your household. Is it having a physical storage, local backup that you use, and maybe because physical storage can fail, having a backup to the backup, if you will, and then or are you using the cloud backup? There's costs with both, there's vulnerabilities with both, and you have to hand over your information to a cloud, some other provider of that service. So you just have to know what's right for you and what's going to work best for you, but making sure you take the time to do those backups, whether it's a combination of the two or just the one. But it doesn't serve you if you're not actually backing up, because it's a way out of a scam. If they're holding your information hostage, well, hey, I got it backed up, so I don't need to fall victim to this.
Yeah, and we've definitely heard of a lot of that happening to businesses and personal accounts alike. So definitely something to take hold of. All right, we're gonna cut it there, and we're gonna tell the people that they didn't have to remember all of this, even though they should, but they can find more of it. Where at, Michelle?
You can go to our website at datcp.wi.gov to just take it piece by piece. As you said, you don't have to remember it all. You can actually go to our Facebook and Twitter page or our YouTube channel as well to see it in chunks and pieces and capture that data specifically about Cybersecurity Month. Or, of course, call the Consumer Protection Hotline at 1-800-422-7128.
I would definitely think for you parents listening to this today, share this with your young ones. They're the ones that have that technology in their hand and are causing you, or could be causing you, some financial or trouble on their own front. So definitely take all this to heart for sure, and share that as well. Michelle, thank you so very much. We'll catch up with you next month.
Sounds great. Always my pleasure.
All right, Michelle and Laura from DATCP. We love these ladies. They do such a great job, and their team too. We probably should give credit to them as well. They got a big great team there. So appreciate their help each and every month. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg, wrapping up the show. Thank you to our guests for being on the show. We'll get those all posted up right there on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening, everybody.